I think Warwick really, and the degree I did, which was BSc Management, really helped me um, start my startup while I was studying. So obviously juggling both the things was a bit difficult, like doing full-time studies while being a full-time founder and things like that. But the course itself was so flexible, and um, it was relevant in all contexts, I would say. Like it wasn't too narrow that you would want to just stick to a particular thing. It was wide enough and flexible enough for you to make whatever you wanted to make out of it, which really helped me get the best use of my degree.
And we're going to come on to talk about your leisure brand that you've set up and the startup that you did start back in Warwick. But when you started your course, there's a lot of starts there. When you started your course, did you think that you would be setting up a business at the same time?
Not really. The idea was there, but I was, still toying with the idea. I think it was just the foundations of whatever I had learned in first year, and also it was a little bit of like just the empowerment you also get by talking to people. It definitely boosted my confidence to an extent for me to be able to take that leap and actually start.
So tell us about your business, its name, what you do, and how you are helping to promote it here in India and across the globe.
Sure. So I'm the co-founder and CMO at Kava Athleisure. We're an adaptive athleisure clothing brand that is built for Indian bodies while being globally relevant in terms of our designs, our style, etc. So the whole point of Kava was to bring the whole fitness first fashion approach to Indian culture, because Indian dressing is very formal if you look at it, back in the day. But since the pandemic, we've seen this shift into everybody wanting to be comfortable in their own clothes, and that's something that I noticed at my time in the UK as well. Everyone was just dressing comfortably, which I really thought was the need of the hour in India, and that's something that we saw people slowly adapt. Seeing the gap in the market in the athleisure space back in 2020, that's when the thought came about. And yeah, that's why we started Kava.
So actually that does show you the value of having that Warwick degree, and also just going abroad and being amongst the global community, because you've taken what you've learnt there and transferred it and transported it back here into India. And how's it going?
It's going great. I think also, like even Parth mentioned, the Warwick alumni is so active. It's obviously the friends I met there are people I'm still very much in touch with since I just graduated last year. Hoping to stay in touch with them through the years like Parth is. But I think it's it's going really well. It was definitely an adjustment moving back to India, and I do still miss the campus. Looking at that brand video, I was really just reminiscing my time at campus. But yeah, it's great. It's so much I've got to learn, and applying. I still do go back to some of my module material that I have saved on my laptop whenever I feel like there might be something relevant over there that I want to refer to.
And you talked about living in your extended family. Obviously there you lived alone, but amongst a community, so you weren't really alone, were you?
Yeah.
But coming back and readapting to life here in India, how has that been for you?
It's definitely a readjustment, because when you leave for college, you're definitely a different person. Through the 3 years of my time at Warwick, I think through all your experiences, you become a new person, and then you have to come back to the same environment that you left to. So it's kind of a readjustment, but I think it's definitely a good one, and teaches you a lot again. And yeah, being luckily I was quite busy with my work, so it didn't seem as daunting to me.
So when I come to India, and I've been coming over a number of decades, I remember coming one summer when it was elections here, and I went back home and said to Mum and Dad, my goodness, there was so much excitement about the elections. People were stopping me and asking me opinions. I obviously didn't have opinions because I don't live here. I feel the energy, the vibrance, the entrepreneurship of India, young yet so mature in so many ways. You're part of that story. How does it feel to be part of that modern story of modern India, pushing the boundaries, being at the forefront of economic growth?
I think it's great. Like one thing that I would always tell anybody that asks me how it's been starting this young. I would say that's the best thing I could have done, because you get to learn and really mold while you are making the mistakes and learning on the journey. So yeah, starting young and is you have this energy and like excitement about everything that you probably won't have after 15 years of corporate experience, etc.
And then just finally, what would you say to young people thinking about coming to the UK and studying, and we hope, like once again, as I said before, at Warwick?
I think it's definitely the best decision you would be making. It's not just like educational benefits, it's a whole like character development that you have, and Warwick is definitely one of the top choices you should be considering because of just how vast the cultures are, the community is, and the campus itself is beautiful.
And you did say home from home. What about mums and dads? Because often it's the first time you're letting your son or daughter leave the family home.
I think my parents can be very difficult to convince, but luckily with Warwick it was not as hard a job, because I think they were able to see the type of community that most students were building while they were at Warwick. It doesn't seem as daunting as other universities, because you really have that support with, I think you guys have the Nightline as well, etc. Right? Like there's a lot of initiatives that Warwick does in general, making sure that every student is comfortable through their journey over there, whether that's like the start or the end of the 3 years.
Well, look, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, Shreya Mittal, you've got to look out for her and obviously her brand as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.